Hey Taurus, welcome back to the Guiding Chariot and welcome to your Cancer season reading. Alright my lovelies, we are going to dive right in. As always, house rules still apply. This will be a general message for all Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. Take the messages as they resonate. Thank you guys for your patience. It has been a weird, wonky week that has delayed a lot of things. We are moving out of this T-square with Mars. We've got a new moon coming up. So thank you just for being patient as I get your messages out. We're finally here. Alright, so Taurus, we are diving right in because a lot of the messages this round have been pretty long. Some of them even like twice as long as my normal videos. So we're going to have lots to talk about. Alright, Taurus. Recent past, you guys might have been dealing with some struggling energies. And I say recent past because it looks like you guys are moving out of them. So we shall see what comes up. And I will say you are not alone in that. This T-square with Mars has been funky for a lot of people. For sure Aries, we just did the Aries reading. Anyone with some really strong Mars placements for sure would feel it a little heavier. So if your Mars is in, especially like if you're like me and your Mars is in Aries, it'll be a thing. But any strong major Mars placements, definitely this transit creates some extra tension. So it feels, you may feel like you're kind of, it's almost like bottlenecking. Like there's all this extra pressure. Things feel blocked and like stopped up. See, yep, I knew we were moving out of it. Good for you, Taurus. And actually, as I say that, 8 of Cups, look at you walking away. Beautiful, beautiful energy. Oop, just like that poor baby. There we go. All nice and straight again. And don't worry, I'm going to show you the cards. We're gonna get this layout ready and then go through them. That was fun. Oh. Taurus. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. Those like leapt up. Okay, Taurus. You already know this about you, so I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Be very cautious of any stubborn tendencies. Alright, we're going to take those. Yeah, let's look at that. Bottom of the deck as we close out. Ace of Cups. Love that. We're going to take these two in this fight. Yes! Love those. Okay, Taurus, let's go through these bad boys. So, recent past, we're starting out with this 8 of Swords. Feeling stuck, feeling trapped, feeling like we're not moving forward. Right? We want to move on, we want to push through. But it just no matter what we do, we feel like we either can't get off square one, or we keep getting pushed back to square one. We're just not making the progress we want to. You may feel there's some competition as well. So especially if this is a work thing, it certainly doesn't have to be. But it may feel like there's this extra competition and you're kind of, it's not that you're losing, but it's like you're being outplayed. Right, and you're kind of, I almost want to say it's like the other people involved, it seems like they know something you don't. Like, so for some reason there feels like there's some type of advantage. They've got extra aces up their sleeves. Because a lot of times when I'll read the 5 of Swords, yes, it is external conflict, but it can be kind of dirty. It can be kind of shady. And I don't necessarily pick that up for you in this reading, Taurus, but it feels like there is an advantage. Like, whether there is or isn't, but like the perception is that it's like they know the answers to the questions, right? Like, like they knew to study this book, you know, specifically because the questions were going to be on it. And you were like, I did all the reading material, but it's like the ones I read were not being tested on. And for some reason, these people know all the answers. So especially if this is in a job setting, right? You may feel like a certain person might be favored, or what's being looked at and analyzed and comparing, you know, maybe different applications for a promotion. These people come from a background that, you know, already sets them up, right? Versus you who maybe have, you know, time and experience with a company. This person's coming in, you know, but they just kind of happen to be in perfect alignment or something like that. It just feels like there's a perceived advantage in the other people connected to this situation. And like I said, I'm using a work example because that's kind of an easy connection to make, but remember, apply it to where it makes sense for you. It doesn't have to be work at all. But it just feels like others are kind of moving ahead while you're kind of like, where are we going? Why am I not? How come I don't get to move up with them? Why am I still here? I will say, do not worry about that. Don't worry about it at all. Because like I said, it's only perceived. You know, truly, there's a lot to be grateful for here when we get to this Four of Wands. And Four of Wands, I love this because, you know, yes, it shows foundations and celebration. And it's this beautiful, like, community spirit. But I always see the Four of Wands as a bit of a portal. It's kind of that opening that all the blessings kind of fall out of. And it is available to you. It is open, right? Speaking of portals, we're still in the Sirius portal. So I think you guys are definitely getting some divine guidance through this portal as well. So keep that back pocket. We are going to talk about that in this particular column. So we'll come back to her. But this present energy, this perceived block, you guys, honestly, you're going to have to let that go. And I don't mean let it go, it's just like cast it to the wind, but you have here the Four of Swords. So quiet the mind. It's your mind that's starting to freak out. It's your mind that's starting to kind of overwhelm you. I'm going to put it that way. Because it's creating these storylines and these illusions and these fantasies that are kind of making this situation seem crazier and more overwhelming and more in control of your situation than it really is. So if you can let that anxiety and that worry and that stress go, honestly, your transition through this moment is going to be a lot smoother and a lot less stressful for you. This Nine of Wands, this energy, I told you, be careful where you are stubborn. When this card is negatively aspected, it can speak to being that stick in the mud. I'm just going to dig my hooves into the mud. You ain't moving me nowhere. This is the way it's going to be. This is what I'm going to do. This is the path I'm going to be on. When universe, for some of you, I think, because I don't necessarily see change here. I don't see some like big upheaval. So you're not like changing relationships, losing friends, you know, getting a new job. There's nothing that traumatic. But there does seem to be more for you than what is, you know, visible, right? Than what we're consciously aware of. But it's kind of almost like, well, this is the path I've laid, these are the choices I've made, and this is kind of what I do, and I just want to do this, right? So be very careful with this Nine of Wands, especially since it's in the middle of your energy. And, you know, I'm not calling you out, Taurus, I love you guys. You know, but Taurian energy is very comfortable. You know, we like to do what's familiar, what's common. You know, we like routine. It feels safer for us. And that's not always a bad thing, because a lot of times this Nine of Wands can also speak to endurance, right? And staying the course. You know, but it's just because it's kind of aspected by all this Swords energy. Be very careful if that starts to shift and move. You know, it's almost kind of like you're riding the fence, where it's like, you know, I'm doing what's best for me, this is the path I want to be on, you know, and watching that before it crosses over into that obsessive line where like, no, this is all I want to do, and I'm not gonna budget for anyone, even if that other thing might actually lead me to some new opportunities. I'm just staying here because it's comfortable. And remember, be very careful of that. And I want to point that out because you also have the Six of Swords in this forward position, which means you are going to be moving on. And like I said, there's no major cards of change, so I don't think you're like quitting the company to go start a new job, but there may be a slightly different opportunity than the one you were aiming for, or there might be, you know, you might have an opportunity to work with another partner. In some way, you're moving on from this situation, moving towards something really solid, right? Having this fallout underneath that Four of Wands. So really what that means, we're moving away from that Eight of Swords, so we're moving away from this energy that keeps us feeling stuck and bound, where we, might be getting hurt in some way, and we're moving closer towards something we can be grateful for and something we can celebrate. So I promise you're moving on, but that honestly, that may push you into new surroundings, that may push you maybe out of a comfort zone. Find a way to be okay with that, right? You kind of learn to love that process because it's going to help you in the end. We have this Six of Pentacles in reverse, which again is kind of stubborn. Upright, this energy is one of giving and flowing and generosity and receptivity, right? Just kind of letting things come and going with the flow. Here, we want to force it. We want to control the flow of things. Rarely ever benefits you in life, right? Not saying it never does, but it rarely helps you, right? You want to be, especially if you're dealing with gratitude, you're not being really grateful if you're like, I'll be grateful for it when it happens exactly how I want it, when I want it, on the day I want it, in the same color that I'm wearing, like, then I'll be grateful. Other than that, I'm not really going to give a damn, right? It's kind of that. Not saying that's you, but it's that kind of energy, right? That's going to restrict, these blessings that are coming in, because they are blessings. We also have this Seven of Pentacles in reverse, so being a little too anxious. To me, I don't think you're an anxious person, right? I don't think this is natural for a Taurian, at least not one that's, stable like you. Why I think this is showing up, right, especially right underneath the Nine of Wands, when the stubborn side of you starts to take hold, if it does, right? Honestly, biggest takeaway, don't let that happen. Keep yourself in check. Have that awareness of self to make sure you're straddling that line and you don't start to dip your toe on the other side. But if that happens, right, if we start to give into that really stubborn, fear-based, kind of reactionary, mind frame and perspective, that's where we start getting anxious, because, right, we're trying to force that thing, so it has to happen this way. If it doesn't, things are going to mess up, or things are going to get worse, or I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't want to not know, right? There's a little unknown going on, which I get can be weird. I understand. I'm not a big fan of, well, take that back. Surprises. We'll call it that. I'm not the biggest fan of surprises. I like to know and be prepared and, make sure I'm wearing the right outfit if we're going to do this thing. But, it's that kind of energy. Kind of be okay with that. Kind of learn to just deal. Know that it's going to be good. Know that you're going to have a good time. Know that the people setting this up for you are creating a safe space, right? No one's coming for you. But forcing it and pushing it and trying to over-control this situation, that's what's going to create more anxiety. That's what's going to create more tension. That's what's going to create more friction. So there is a little bit of releasing going on. We saw the Eight of Cups on the bottom of the deck already. Presently it's Ace of Cups, which is self-love. It is kind of nurturing and doing what's best for you. And sometimes what's best for you is stepping outside of your comfort zone, right? If you deserve more, if you want bigger and better, and to get that bigger and better, you've got to step outside that box. Self-love is you stepping out of that box. Underneath that, we have the World card. I love this, which is the end of the cycle, which is literally what you have going on in your outcome position. You have the Ten of Swords, which I know, gnarly card. We started with the Eight of Swords, feeling blocked, feeling restricted, feeling held back, against our will especially. And then we finish this out with the 10. So that situation escalates, but it comes to a finale, right? So for some, this 10 can actually be depicting a forced defeat. So whatever perceived block was going on with that Eight of Swords, for some of you, like the ones that really lean into this energy negatively and try to stick it out and try to make this work, eventually it will come to an end, and it'll be kind of gnarly, but essentially this is the universe being like, I'm going to take that away now because that needs to end so you can actually begin this new endeavor, right? So from this ending, there is a new beginning. We have a 10 back to an ace. So we end this period of mental exhaustion, anxiety, stress, worry, fear, for sure. Some, it may even lead to a betrayal, right? We can see this mer person was stabbed in the back, right? Key is that this ends, whether we allow it to end, which is going to be the smoothest transition of them all, right? Because we have that World card bottom of the deck. So either we allow that to go and kind of go along with that process, makes it a much smoother process, or we fight it and resist it all the way until we literally get stabbed 10 times and, are forced to let that go. Either way, it will end. So I always find comfort in that when I see the Ten of Swords, because it is an ending. But, the more we resist that, the harder it, we'll be on top of ourselves. But the whole point of this ending is that it ignites a new fire in you. Anytime you get an ace, and remember, you also had the Ace of Cups. Anytime you get an ace, it does kind of, tell of a new beginning, right? Because we come back to a 1, right? We finished off one cycle, now we're starting a new one. With the Ace of Wands, this is drive, passion, motivation, desire, right? For some of you, this might be a desire born out of necessity, right? There might be a need here, right? As one thing is taken away, there's a new need to fill this. So, if this is work, finding a new passion that we can commit to and create some new income or stability or security, feeling from, coming from a place where we felt, tricked and unsupported and, we weren't lifted up, to a place where we feel passionate and encouraged and motivated, right? So that dichotomy is beautiful. Like, I love to see this. So know that one phase is on its way out, right? Especially as we move through Cancer season, especially with this new moon coming up on the 9th or 10th, depending where you are in the world. This particular new moon, yes, it is a new moon, which is about planting seeds and setting intentions and new beginnings. Because this moon is in Cancer, I think this moon is serving as an emotional release, especially after this T-square I was talking about in the beginning. Because this T-square really, it was almost like being put, like in a champagne bottle. I'm feeling the pressure behind the cork. This new moon, I feel like it's going to be like the cork pop. It just releases all that pressure underneath. So in Taurus fashion, like very Taurian fashion, the underlying message for you is some self-love. And I say self-love more, I chose that specifically over self-care. Both are connected, but both are kind of different. I feel like sometimes we hide behind self-care just to make ourselves comfortable and avoid something we are anxious about, where self-love is sometimes the best thing for us is to lean into those energies. Sometimes the best thing for us is to step outside of that comfort zone. And I think, honestly, that's where you're being guided right now, Taurus. And it's not far. It's not a big step, right? Because, look at the jumps. Really, we only jumped 2 points. We went from an 8 to a 10. We went from a 4 to a 6. So it's not a big jump. It's not a big jump. And even in the pentacles that we had in reverse, we went from a 6 to a 7, right? So it's not a big jump. We're taking one step outside of our comfort zone. We're expanding our space, by a foot all around. It's not a huge leap, but it's big enough to make a difference. It's big enough to get you beyond this kind of perceived restriction, right? Where you felt nothing was advancing, nothing was moving forward. There is advancement, it's just going to be in a different direction, right? Like maybe you wanted to expand your space to the left, and maybe the building next door wasn't ready to sell, but the building on the other side is, right? So we're going to do the same expansion, it's just going to be in a different spot, right? Thank you very much. Okay. So we're going to do an extra layer to clarify these cards, and again, let's talk about them first. I was going to say we're going to lay them all out, but I feel like for you guys, I think with these, we're going to go step by step a little bit. So clarifying this 8 of Swords. Beautiful full card. So yes, feeling restricted from this new beginning. We want to make this happen. We want to live the dream. We want to start this new life. For some reason, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting news of this promotion. I'm not getting this business started. I'm not making this new relationship happen, right? Somehow we're trying to get this new start in this new life, and whatever we're doing, it's not happening. On top of this 5 of Swords, Hermit card. Beautiful. So as there's tension around us, right? Because 5 of Swords, external tension. We're being guided within, right? What is it you need? What is it you envision? And the special thing with the Hermit, his lantern, this lantern contains the star. This is hope, optimism, expecting miracles. You can even see, I'm going to have to hold this a little closer. The Hermit's eyes are closed. He's not trying to necessarily look forward. He's looking within. So this is, as the stuff around you is starting to be tense, stop paying attention to it, right? We talked about how the mind is freaking us out. So check in with yourself. Check in with the soul. What is it I need? What is it that feeds me? What is it that gives me life? Because that is what is available. So over that Four of Wands, we have the Sun card. Most positive, most powerful card in the deck. We love the Sun card. But this is where that life and vitality is being kind of shown on you and brought to you and downloaded into you, right? Through that portal. You know, and I mentioned that Sirius portal, you know, when we first talked about that card. I think some of you are getting major downloads through that. Page of Swords, another new beginning. This is a reinvention as well. Lots of Uranian and Aquarius energy in the Page of Swords for me. It's a little bit, it's my rebel thinker, it's my inventive thinker, right? Willing to do things differently, shake things up, kind of shake up the status quo as well. Because again, we're looking for this brand new start, right? With this Fool card. This is you reinventing the wheel, right? And again, new rebel thoughts, pushing boundaries, not always a thing Taurus people are super comfortable with, but still incredibly capable, right? You think of it, you're an ox, you're super strong, so you're capable of it. You know, we like our little creature comforts and our luxuries. You're just it's a little baby step. It's a little baby step. But even having a page coming out under the Fool, again, this push to new, this push of a different opportunity, right? And a new start. Three of Chalices in reverse, clarifying the Nine of Wands. All right, this can be a slightly different energy, or not different, unusual energy, let's put it this way. Normally this is a card of friendship and support and definitely celebration. To me, this is that energy once this Nine of Wands, if we don't keep it in check and don't maintain our awareness, you know, and it starts to bleed over and go into that line of being really stubborn and, again, over-forcing things that really, you know, it's not going to serve us to be that way, that's where we're going to create more tension, right? Honestly, it might create a little more adversity up here with that 8 and 5 of Swords, where right now it feels blocked and restricted and, you know, we're kind of at odds and at a stare down. It may actually lead to more friction if we really start to like dig in our hooves and try to force something. So be very aware of that energy. To me, this center card isn't so much a, you know, this is what's going to happen kind of moment. To me, that center spot is really coming out as, see, and Lovers in reverse with the Six of Swords. I'm going to finish this thought and we'll come back to that. To me, this is a bit more of a warning and a heads up. Be like, hey, be very conscious of this energy. It's going to be a big kind of factor in how the rest of Cancer season goes for you. It's going to be kind of a tipping point. If we give into this energy, this is kind of going to fall apart. So be very mindful of this. So I don't see it as like a bad, like, oh, beware, the other shoe's going to drop. It's not that. It's just keep this in check and things will be smooth. You know, let this run wild and we might step in it. You know, and same kind of message, well, not same, similar. We have the Lovers card here in the reverse. And Lovers card, yes, can speak to partnerships and connections and things like that, but it's also an energy of choice, right? And it's clarifying the Six of Swords, which is all about moving on, moving forward, right? So if we give into this stubborn energy, especially if it means we choose to not move on and we choose to like stay where we are and stay, you know, overly grounded, and grounded in the sense of, you know, rooted and stuck versus, you know, grounded as in, you know, secure and confident, and you know what I mean. Again, that's gonna be where the funky happens. And actually, look, bottom of the deck at this moment is the Death card, all about transformation and shifting. And even the Death card is probably the easiest transformative card in the deck, in my opinion. You know, because it's a natural process, right? It's one way of being and one form giving away to another. It's not this big radical, you know, it's not like the Tower where it's sudden and drastic and immediate. You know, the Death card, you know, is literally just about one way phasing into another. Four of Swords again, all about rest, surrendering, quieting the mind. And that coming out for that Six of Pentacles in reverse, where we started to force and control things. Just let it be, just do you, right? If something is giving you tension, giving you stress, and making you, freak out about it, that's usually an indicator that, oh, that's not the thing. Whatever that thing is, that's not the thing, right? And that doesn't, that's different from saying like, oh, if something's hard and tough and you don't like doing it, that just means don't do it. No, if the way something is being handled or the way you're participating in something is causing stress, where it's like you're anxious all the time, or you're putting in, it feels like you're putting in, 8,000%, and it's not really getting you anywhere. That's where, this particular placement is like, okay, if it's not serving you, if this is just energy output and it's not returning you, if there's no benefit to it, if you're not being fed by it, that's a place where we're pushing too hard. We're trying to force something to happen where it's never going to come from. All right? That's not a growth opportunity. You're just putting energy into something that is never going to feed you. It's never going to fertilize your dreams, right? It's almost like a parasite. It's just sucking the energy out of you. All right. Oh, and perfect lineup. I love this. So we've got the Seven of Pentacles being clarified by the Strength card. And this is a gentle Strength card. This card we talk about being anxious and forcing. And here, Strength is not about force, right? Strength is about being in tarot, right? You have the force of a lion, but you're a lion. You're I was gonna say a lion, but I meant ox. You're an ox. You have the power. You have the strength. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to shout about it and tell everyone. We see you. We see you. We see those muscles. We see those horns. We know. You also know. So you don't have to remind people. Just be. Just be. There is no need to force it. Ten of Swords being clarified by the Eight of Swords. We already linked beginning and ending already. So we already know what this is about. Right? This is just an illusion that we are moving on from. And look at that. Ace of Wands clarified by the Ace of Wands. Having them double on top of each other. Beautiful. Beautiful new beginning. Beautiful new start. Hey, Taurus, we're back. I had to cut out some sounds. But having this Ace of Wands clarified by the Ace of Wands, that double up of energy, this is a beautiful new passionate beginning for you. This is a great new start. Something that, is going to be so good for you. So I don't know what it is, but it's going to be so good for you. It's something you're passionate about, something you're connected to, something you've been dreaming of. I would even argue this has been something you have wanted and been seeking for a very long time, right? And this is kind of that moment where you're like, I finally get it. I finally get it. Oh my God, it's here, right? Okay. We are going to pull some oracle cards before we wrap this reading up. But beautiful, beautiful spread. So no, things are moving forward, even though we don't see it, even though we may be frustrated because we feel like others are moving forward, but we are not. Trust and believe your moment is here. And I say here because it's not far away. It literally isn't far away. But I feel like you are going to have a bit of a step outside your comfort zone, a bit of a redirect, not a major one, just a small one, but it's a small shift that leads to way more fulfillment. So instead of where you've been trying so hard for so little, essentially they're shifting so that your effort is being rewarded. It actually will feed you. It'll bring dividends. Light, first card out. So normally this is a card of just positivity, looking towards the light. To me, this is all about that Sun card. Life, right? Brightness, illumination. It also kind of gives me the vibes of the Star card, knowing we talked about the Hermit, which, is always about a guiding light, right? And the Star generally is about hope and faith, optimism. So this is a card of, for you in this reading, it's really about expecting the best. And for some, it really may lean into that Star card where it's about expecting miracles. If your perception has been one that's been really, really dark and really, really heavy, depending what your external circumstances are with that 8 and that 5 of Swords. I feel like this is the last one from this deck. Yep. So let me finish this light. But depending on how dark and heavy this has felt, This light card is be like, I know it's been dark, I know it's been hard. Continue to look to the light. Nothing lasts forever, because after the night comes the dawn. Here's your sun card. Your dawn is coming. We also have discernment. So discernment, beautiful, beautiful card, which really, to me, this card is speaking about knowing what's right, knowing what serves you, right? And that's where we get that Four of Swords energy, which again, you've had twice in this reading, so lots of synchronicities. But discernment is that energy of like, is this really doing anything for me? You know, if I'm putting my 100% in this situation, is it returning to me? Is it actually leading to growth? Is it leading to advancement? Or am I just dumping my cup into someone else's and just depleting myself, right? Is it serving me? Is this good for me? Is this right? Is it fair for some of you? Is kind of what I'm feeling. Because again, it's not fair if I don't know if this will connect to a lot of you, so again, take this with a grain of salt, and you know, if it doesn't mean anything, just means it wasn't for you. But for some of you, I talked about how it seems like others are having an advantage, right? Some of you, honestly, this is going to be a real critical judgment, so be careful how you use this. But for some of you, there actually might be favoritism happening, especially if this is a workplace situation. It doesn't have to be, but it could be. But if there's, you know, if you feel like there's some favoritism going on, especially if you like kind of have some concrete situations or that serve as examples and kind of prove it, that's where you really got to question, am I in the right place? Am I in the right place? Does it serve me to stay and try and stick this out, thinking the best in people, thinking that, you know, they really do have my back, this is just a weird moment? Some of you are going to have to get really clear on that for you. And like I said, sometimes self-love, you know, is about making a tough decision. Sometimes self-love, oh, I see you. But again, sometimes that is about what's doing best for you, even if that means stepping out of that comfort zone. Sometimes that is what's going on. So you've got Heart Guardian. Love this card. Oh, it'd be helpful if you could actually see it. Love and let yourself be loved. That Ace of Cups coming through again. Got to do what's best for you. And this is the Autumn card. Release the old and rest. If that hasn't been a big theme with those Four of Swords. But especially what we were just talking about, for some of you, that discernment is going to be about releasing and letting some stuff go that doesn't serve you. I think for most of you, there's going to be some level of releasing. And I think for most of you, it's not going to be that huge. It's just kind of be willing to step out of that comfort zone, be willing to do something slightly different, be willing to be open to a different opportunity. May not be the one you originally had intended, but kind of be open to it. Hear them out. For some of you, you really will kind of be like, oh, I got to cut that off. That's dead weight now. So, you know, you'll find out as you move through Cancer season what's going on. Yes. Arrow, love this. Surround yourself with protective energy. You are safe. You are grounded. Don't worry about it. You're being guided to more. So you are being protected. You are being guided. I love this. You also have Wise One. Grow within your current situation. Yes. Yes. Maybe a challenging time for some of you, but it is a lesson. It is showing you the way forward, right? And to me, this wisdom is about, again, serving you, doing what's best for you, right? There's no need for you to be a sheep. There's no need for you to be mindless and just kind of like, okay, if you say so, right? Be really clear. Like, you know what serves you. You know what you want to achieve. You know what you want to do. This experience is kind of showing you another way forward. Instead of sitting and waiting and kind of playing this weird game that, again, it seems like other people know the rules better than you do. There's this, you know, intelligence moving into wisdom, right? There's that kind of level increase in the way you're kind of playing this game. For some of you, you're going to end up playing a completely different game. But again, it's one that you can actually win versus the one you're in now. So, super positive reading. I would say continue to look forward, be open, and be willing to be a little flexible as things unfold, because it is kind of working out for your best and probably better than your best. But the big thing, be very cautious of this kind of resistance energy inside of you. And it may not even be there, but it's just be aware of that. Because if you start resisting, if you start to over control a situation, or you really start to tunnel vision this manifestation, that's where we're going to run into trouble. So it's not that this is going to happen, it's not that this is your destiny. This is just here's a spot where we could mess this up, and our free will can push us into a situation we didn't want in the first place. So just keep that ego in check. It's not a bad thing. We all have it. We all deal with it. This is just a moment where yours might be a little tested. So just be aware. Just be aware. Stay open. Stay fluid. All right, my lovelies. I'm going to close out your reading there. As always, I love you guys. Thank you for all your love and support. If you like this reading, I'd super appreciate if you could like and subscribe. Make sure you get that notification bell. It's the best way to be notified when your next reading pops up. Leave me a comment on what you'd like to see coming up. I think once I finish the last sign video, which will be right after yours, I am going to work on... I feel like I'm going to work on a few pick-a-cards. You guys seem to like those, so I'm gonna do a couple of those, I think. But yeah, with that said, wishing you the best. Take care of yourselves. Remember, self-love moment for you guys, Taurus. You guys deserve it. You guys are worthy. I love you guys. Stay safe. I'll see you in your next reading. Bye.